Jonathan with Iron Mind Hypnosis, and I just want to say a few words about stress. We've got a world that's got a lot of stress going on, a lot of uncertainty is going on, a lot of bad news in the media. Some of that's getting less dramatic, but still a lot of unpleasant things going on in the news. And it's important to kind of put things in context, what things really mean. Now, I recently had a fellow hypnotist point out that when he was teaching his son, young son, to interact with streets early on, it was appropriate for his son to be afraid of cars, afraid of the street even, and that was appropriate for a time. And as his son grew older, more responsible, uh, learned more, at a certain point, there became a procedure for dealing with the street, for crossing the road, looking both ways, of course, for operating a bicycle, wearing the helmets, rules of the road, things like that. There became a procedure, and once procedure was there was a safe way of doing things, or at least a safe as can be way of doing things. The fear didn't need to stick around. It could be perfectly comfortable to cross the road at a crosswalk when you've looked both ways and you've got clear visibility. There's no need to be afraid of the road or anything like that if you follow the procedure. Uh, Likewise, riding a bicycle as a child, even on the street, assuming it's a residential street, and wearing the helmet and following the rules of the road, as safe as can be created. And once those conditions are met, there's no reason to be afraid of it. Likewise with the virus situation. At first, when we didn't know what was going on, and there was an exceptionally large amount of conflicting information, and even the researchers were unclear at what they were looking at, it was appropriate to be afraid, to have our minds searching for ways in which things could go wrong, so that we could dream up new ways to be safe. Now, as we're getting back, lowered restrictions from the government as far as movement in society and out in the world. Now that those things are becoming more open, and we have procedures, we know about the size of gathering that is appropriate. We know to wash our hands. We know that we're using masks. When we know that these things, we've got steps for them. We've got a procedure. The fear doesn't have to be there anymore. We've selected our level of concern, our level of safety that's appropriate for us. Sure, for folks who are in a particularly fragile condition, medically or high risk, the elderly. For those folks, the procedure is going to be different. The procedure is still going to be locked down probably for quite some time yet. And it's fine. The procedure is different for different folks. There's no need to worry excessively. There are lots of things in our lives that we are very comfortable with, that we do not feel any fear around, that are in fact very dangerous, intrinsically dangerous, and most of us don't feel fear around. Crossing the street is, especially if it's a busy road, is a dangerous thing. Riding a bicycle in an area that is mixed in with cars can be a very dangerous thing. Speaking of cars, driving cars is an incredibly dangerous thing that almost all of the population, I mean, certainly not everyone, but very many people in this population are comfortable driving, at least in ideal conditions. Cars are incredibly dangerous. They're intrinsically dangerous despite all their safety features. And wrecks are common. Wrecks are uh, they're not rare. And wrecks that cost life are also very common. But we don't pay that any mind usually. We know that if we're in a situation where we might drive tired, we're going to pay extra mind to that, and we might change our behavior. We know to use the safety devices on the car, like the safety belt. We know to drive between the lines, go the correct way down the road. We've got a procedure for this, and because we have a procedure that lines up with our values as far as what is the appropriate way, the appropriate level of risk, and the versus the reward of being able to move around, there's no need for fear. Same goes for the virus. You put the odds in the best way for yourself in terms of you know what size of groups that you're going to be in. You know how you're washing your hands to protect yourself and others. You know that you're using the mask that's appropriate. Um, you know what procedures you're doing and how you're minimizing contact. And beyond that, you're just going to see what fate gives you because you've done the very best. And there are thousands of other situations in your life where you take risks and you're completely comfortable because there is a procedure and you've mitigated that risk. You've brought the risk into line with your values in life. And so it's okay to proceed. Same goes for the virus. There's no need to stress about the virus once we know a procedure. Once you have a procedure for how you're going to go about things, then you just work with that and go about focusing on other things in life, allowing the things you do to be safe, like the social distancing, like the not gathering in large groups, like the washing the hands, the using the mask, can just fall into the background of your mind. Just like putting on a safety belt, most people do automatically, and then it need not be any bother at all. Just feels a little off when you don't do it. What am I? Oh, I didn't put on my safety belt. No problem. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful day and get a chance to experience what it's like to proceed with the procedure. Take care.